We have all been there. It's 11 p.m., you're hungry, you raid the fridge, you find that half-eaten container of salsa, or that yogurt, or that carton of milk. You're about to take a bite, and then you see it. The date. The judge, jury, and executioner of your groceries. It says Oct 15th. Today is October 18th. So, what do? Do you eat it, or do you throw it in the trash? If you're like 90% of Americans, you throw it away. You assume that on midnight of October 15th, a biological switch flipped inside that yogurt, that it went from delicious, nutritious snack to biohazard that will kill you instantly. But what if I told you that date is a lie? What if I told you that the date on your milk has almost nothing to do with your safety? What if I told you that with the exception of one single product, the federal government has zero laws requiring expiration dates? We are throwing away 40% of our food supply. We are burning billions of dollars, and we are doing it because we have been tricked by a system that is confusing, unregulated, and honestly, kind of nonsense. Today, we are going to look inside the chemistry of rot. We're going to find out why Al Capone, yes, the gangster, might be the reason you have dates on your milk. And I'm going to teach you how to become a human lab detector so you never waste a dollar on groceries again. Put down the trash bag. Let's talk about expiration dates. Okay, let's play a game. It's called Decode the Label. I have 3 products here: sell by, best by, use by, freeze by, enjoy by. Do you know the legal difference between these phrases? Take a guess. The answer is absolutely nothing. Well, mostly nothing. In terms of federal safety standards, these phrases are essentially marketing terms decided by the manufacturer, not a health inspector. Let's break them down because the wording actually reveals the secret. This date isn't for you. It's for the stock boy at the grocery store. It tells the store how long to display the product for inventory management. It assumes that after you buy it, it will still be good for days, maybe even a week or more in your fridge. If you throw away milk on the sell-by date, you are literally throwing away fresh milk. Notice the word best. It doesn't say safe by. It doesn't say non-toxic by. It says best. This is a quality standard. The manufacturer is saying, hey, this cracker is going to be at peak crunchiness until this date. After that, it might be a little soft. The flavor might be a little flat, but it won't hurt you. This is the only one that gets closer to a safety recommendation, usually found on highly perishable stuff like smoked fish or soft cheese. But even then, it's often conservative. The reason this is so confusing is that the United States has a Wild West approach to food labeling. If you live in Montana, your milk has to have a sell-by date of 12 days after pasteurization. If you live in New York, no specific requirement like that. So the exact same carton of milk, processed in the exact same factory, becomes expired days earlier depending on which side of the state line you're standing on. Does the milk know it's in Montana? Does bacteria have a GPS? No, it's arbitrary, and this confusion is expensive. The RNDC estimates that the average American family of 4 loses $1,500 a year on wasted food. That's a new iPhone. That's a vacation. That is money you are setting on fire because of a printed number. So how did we get here? Humans have been eating food for 200,000 years. We didn't have inkjet printers for 199,900 of them. How did our ancestors survive without knowing the best buy date on their mammoth meat? They used the original biological technology, the sniff test. But then society changed. In the early 1900s, we stopped growing our own food and started buying it from strangers. And as cities grew, supply chains got longer. Here is a legend you might have heard: Al Capone, the most notorious gangster in history. Rumor has it that his niece got sick from drinking spoiled milk, and Capone, looking for a legitimate business to launder his money, bullied the Chicago City Council into requiring expiration dates on milk bottles. Is it true? Well, partially. Capone did get into the dairy business, mostly to muscle out unions, and milk standards did improve around that time. But the real driver of expiration dates wasn't the mafia, it was the supermarket. In the 1970s, Americans started demanding fresher food. We moved away from canned, processed stuff and wanted natural. But natural rots. Consumers started realizing that the codes on cans, which were secret codes for the manufacturers, could be deciphered to tell how old the food was. People started carrying cheat sheets to the grocery store. To stop the panic, manufacturers voluntarily started printing open dates readable by humans. Congress considered passing a law to standardize it in the 70s, but the food lobby said, "Nah, we got this." And Congress said, "Cool," and they haven't touched it since. I mentioned earlier there is one product that is federally regulated. This is it. Baby formula. Because babies don't have fully developed immune systems, the government actually steps in here. If this date passes, do not use it. Period. But for everything else, the government leaves it up to the guys selling you the food. And do the guys selling you the food make more money or less money if you throw it away and buy a new one? You do the math. Okay, conspiracy aside, food does go bad. We can't eat 100-year-old ham, but we need to understand the difference between spoilage and safety. This is the most important part of the video. If you remember one thing, remember this distinction. There are two types of microscopic bugs that want to eat your lunch. Type 1, spoilage bacteria. These guys are the loud neighbors. When they eat your food, they make it smell bad, taste sour, and feel slimy. They turn the milk chunky, they make the meat gray. Here's the kicker. Spoilage bacteria generally won't make you sick. I know, it sounds insane, but if you drink sour milk, you might vomit because it tastes gross, but you usually won't get a foodborne illness or an infection. Your stomach acid handles them. Type 2, pathogenic bacteria. These are the ninjas: Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria. These are the ones that send you to the hospital. And here's the terrifying part. You cannot smell, taste, or see them. Pathogenic bacteria don't grow because the food is old. They grow because the food was contaminated at the factory, or because you left it out on the counter in the danger zone between 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit for too long. So let's look at that date again. The date is protecting you from spoilage, quality. It is not a guarantee against pathogens, safety. If you leave fresh chicken in a hot car for 4 hours, it's deadly, even if the expiration date is next week. If you keep chicken perfectly frozen, it is safe indefinitely, even if the date was last year. Time isn't the enemy. Temperature and moisture are the enemies. The date assumes you are storing the food perfectly, but once you open that package, the date is null and void. Used by Oct 20 applies to the sealed package. Once you pop the seal, the clock starts ticking based on biology, not the calendar. So how do we fight back? How do we stop wasting money without poisoning ourselves? I'm gonna run through the most common foods and give you the real rules of engagement. 1. Canned goods. Look at this can of beans, Best Buy 2024. If I keep this in a cool, dark pantry, how long is it actually good for? According to the USDA, years, decades even. As long as the can is not dented, rusted, or bulging, which indicates botulism, very bad, the food inside is sterile. The texture might get mushy, the vitamins might degrade, but you can eat 10-year-old canned Spam and survive. 2. Honey, sugar, salt, white rice. These foods literally do not expire. Honey found in Egyptian tombs, 3,000 years old, is still edible. Bacteria cannot survive in pure sugar or salt environments. They dehydrate and die. If your honey crystallizes, just heat it up. If your sugar gets hard, smash it. Do not throw it away. 3. Milk. This is the big one. Milk dates are notoriously conservative. The test is use your nose. Humans are evolved to detect spoiled fats. If it smells sour, toss it. If it smells like milk, pour a little in a glass. If it's smooth, taste a tiny sip. If it's sweet, it's good, even 5 to 7 days past the date. Pro tip, store milk in the back of the fridge, not the door. The door gets warm every time you open it. 5. Eggs. Eggs last way longer than you think, 3 to 5 weeks after you buy them. The test is the float test. Fill a bowl with water, drop the egg in. If it sinks, it's fresh. If it stands up on one end, it's getting older, use it for baking or hard boiling. If it floats, toss it. Why? As eggs age, air enters the shell. Too much air equals bacteria party. 6. Deli meats and soft cheeses. This is where I tell you to be careful. Remember listeria? It loves cold cuts, and it grows even in the fridge. For sliced deli meat, follow the 3 to 5 day rule after opening, regardless of the printed date. It gets slimy, toss it. It smells like yeast, toss it. This is not the place to be a hero. 7. Bread and hard cheese. You see a spot of mold, what do? Bread? Throw the whole loaf. Mold has roots, or hyphae, that go deep into soft porous bread where you can't see them. Hard cheese, cheddar or Parmesan, cut the mold off. Cut an inch around and below the spot. The rest is safe because the cheese is too dense for the roots to penetrate. Soft cheese, like brie or cottage cheese, if you see mold, the whole thing is trash. We have covered the science and the hacks, but let's zoom out for a second. Why does this matter? Because we are destroying the planet for no reason. When you throw away an egg, you aren't just throwing away an egg, you're throwing away the water it took to grow the grain to feed the chicken. You're throwing away the diesel fuel it took to truck that egg to your store. If food waste were a country, it would be the 3rd largest emitter of greenhouse gases behind China and the USA. And the huge chunk of that waste happens in our homes because we are scared of a date printed on a label. Grocery stores are part of the problem too. They refuse to donate expired food to food banks because of liability myths, even though the Good Samaritan Act protects them. So perfectly good food gets locked in dumpsters while people go hungry. There is a movement to change this. Some UK supermarkets are removing best buy dates entirely from fruits and veggies. They're telling people, look at the apple. Is it mushy? No? Then eat it. We need to reclaim that confidence. So here's your challenge for this week. Go to your pantry. Find something that is expired. Look at it. Smell it. Google it. Don't be reckless. If it smells like a wet sock, please don't eat it. But if it's just a bag of chips from last month, or a can of soup from last year, or yogurt that expired yesterday, trust your senses. They have kept your ancestors alive for thousands of years. They work better than a stamp put there by a factory robot. The date is a suggestion. Your nose is the detective. Stop letting a calendar dictate your dinner. Save your money. Save the food, and stop feeding the trash can. If you learned something new today, especially about the floating egg trick or the difference between sell by and use by, hit that like button. It helps the algorithm show this video to more people so we can stop wasting so much food. I want to hear from you in the comments. What is the oldest thing you have ever eaten? Did you survive? Or do you have a horror story about eating something that wasn't expired but made you sick anyway? Let me know down below. If you want to know more about how supermarkets manipulate you into buying more, check out this video right here. Thanks for watching and stay fresh.